Hey folks, this is Mike Tango Whiskey coming at you with episode 32 of the Hurt Feelings Report. So if you're new to the channel, the Hurt Feelings Report is the weekly show where I go over all of the comments from the past week and I highlight the very best insults and the very best insights. I cry, you laugh, and it's entertaining for all. Are you not entertained? Like it's bread and circuses. It's literally bread and circuses for all the people who are watching out there. I also picked up some new fidgets this week, but I don't think you want me to use these on camera. Will that drive you guys crazy if I do that the whole time? It probably will, so I won't do it. I'll use the quiet one that was sent to me by one of my viewers. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is the prepping channel for the 68%. We are the portion, like a standard deviation in both directions on the bell curve from the midline there. We're not like tactical tier 1 operator ninjas, and we're not off-grid survivalist bushcrafting collapse preppers yet, but we're working our way towards those edges. And if you're one of my loyal subscribers, welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. You guys know I love you. I'll give you an update. I hit 25,000 subs yesterday. That's kind of a milestone for me, I think for anybody really, but it's been about 7 months, put out like 300 and something videos, and it's been humbling and exciting. I still enjoy doing it, and I'm extremely grateful. So thank you all for subbing and riding along with me as I rant and blather on over and over in these videos and put out, too many videos too fast and all the stuff and things. But I appreciate you all coming along for the journey. And you guys know that I love you like these two fidget devices. So one of my viewers sent me this guy. I'm not even sure what kind it is. I got to look at his letter again. But I like this one because it's solid, it's sturdy, it's like magnetic, and it's quiet. So I can fidget with this even in meetings and not really be a distraction. This one, it's a cheap one I bought off of Amazon, and it's okay, but it's way too loud. Like it's embarrassing to have this one, because then everybody notices that I have a fidgeting problem. I can do this one. I can keep this one in private. This little fidget thing, this is just between me and him. When I'm fidgeting with this one becomes public information, and then it's slightly embarrassing. So I have to put a lot of pressure on it to do it quietly. It's too much work. It's too much effort. And to be honest, I've kind of stopped carrying this one. I prefer the one that I can mess with in secret. That's how I love you guys, my loyal subscribers. Let's get started. Oh, what videos did I put out this past week? I felt pretty good about this week, really. February 2nd was advice. I was answering a lot of emails on how and why to start a prepping channel, a YouTube channel. I put out a video on AI will replace you. I felt really good about that one, but it didn't do well at all. I put out my Firearms Part 2 video, my Firearms video with no firearms in it. And then I talked about a channel I discovered that talked about community and have I been prepping backwards. And then yesterday, yesterday I put out a shill spill with some cool stuff that I've got and found over the past week. So let's jump right in. 3 minutes and 43 seconds before I jump into the first comment. That's too long, but you guys are used to it by now. Okay, this is on my I've been prepping backwards. So in that video, the premise was you start with community, not with stuff. And preppers might be doing it wrong. As a leftist, this discovery is kind of funny. This is from T. West Guard 2. A socialist utopia is best for our survival? ? Don't get me wrong. I think you're absolutely on the right track with this, but good luck getting a bunch of self-centered, right-wing dude bros to decenter their egos and care for community. Please do. I sincerely hope it works! ! But making that work is going to require emotional maturity and humility, and the prepper space is loaded with men who think they're going to survive on a diet of pure bootstraps and ego. And that's a nightmare demographic to build community with. Okay. Thank you, T. Westgard, even though I get the sense you are a tourist. That's okay. We accept tourists here, kind of, for the most part. Is T. West right? First of all, I think you kind of assume that I'm part of that group, and that's a false assumption. I don't consider myself a right-winger. I'm conservative on some issues. I'm liberal on other issues. I've had a foot in both worlds my whole life. Grew up in Southern California, blended family, very diverse area. I'm in an interracial marriage. Like I've had a foot in both worlds my whole entire life. So people look at me and they think North Idaho, and really it's more like Southern California. So I think you're kind of putting some of those assumptions on me. Right-wing dude bros. So are there self-centered right-wing dude bros in the rights? Yeah, I think there are. But your comment kind of assumes that, first of all, I'm not right or left. I say this repeatedly on my channel. I am post-political. I think right and left is the illusion of choice. I don't believe in red and blue. I don't buy any of that crap. I believe it's up and down. But your comment kind of assumes that the egocentric, all of that is on the right, and that there's none of that on the left. Like on the left, it's all kumbaya and there's no ego. I don't buy that either. I know that's the perception, but I have not seen that. I've not seen that. Now, does the left do a better job at building community? That might be true. That might be true. I think there's some really great examples, and a lot of the great examples of the community, kind of like that channel was talking about, tend to be more present on the left than on the right. So there's some validity. There is some validity to this comment. There is. But on the flip side of that, what I see lacking in a lot of those kind of casual communities is the courage, like the ego that you talk about, the bootstraps and the ego. In difficult times, that is just as important. That is just as important. Courage, I say this all the time, I think courage is going to be the most valuable virtue moving forward. I believe that with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength, that is going to be uber important, okay? Communities without courage won't survive, and I think warlords without community won't survive, right? Maybe the answer is somewhere in the middle, and that I guess that's kind of the point. Like if we're like, well, which side do we choose? Which left or right? Which one is better? There's that's what drives me so crazy about politics is the polarization. It's like this or that. How about this? Like, nope, it's this or it's that. There's no middle ground. And I think that's part of the problem. So part of your comment is accurate, but I also think it's part of the problem in the sense that this duality is what's going to do us in. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think communities of courage. Oh, did I just come up with a name for off-grid? Yeah, communities of courage. I think it's going to take both. It's going to take courage and it's going to take community. And I think you can do both. I think you can. I think you can find people right in the middle that are both courageous and believe in community. Yeah. Good comment, though. Thank you. Paul Istro. So I mentioned starting a secret society in that video, too. And he goes, FOP, Fraternal Order of Preppers. I love it. How do I sign up? Well, Paul, it's a secret, so I can't tell you how to sign up. When I launch that project, nobody will know. Therefore, I won't get any members because it'll be a total secret. I did that one time. I started a public speaking club at my job, and it was called like the secret order of blah, 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 orators or something. And it was so secret that nobody ever came. I put out a video telling people they should start a channel because I get a lot of emails kind of asking me about that. And Gunslinger AP111 says, I made a YouTube channel and gave you a shout out. Thank you for putting a fire under my butt. Anyway, the channel is America Prepares. America Prepares. So if you guys get a chance, go check out his channel. I watched his one video. He has a really nice stainless steel water bottle in it. I feel like that was bait for me. I'm like, ooh, and I clicked on it. So yeah, and I subbed to his channel. So check out America Prepares. That's pretty cool. Good job starting a channel, man. Christian Weiss, trade jobs. So I put out a short saying there are no safe jobs, right? One of the stated goals of, which AI company is that? I forget. My brain's getting bad. There are no safe jobs. And in that short, I implied that AI is also coming after blue-collar jobs. Everywhere I go now, everywhere I go, I ask people when I meet them. I start up conversations every single chance I get. And I go, are you worried about AI taking your job? 9 out of 10 people go, no, not me. Not my job. I had a manager at a fast food place say, not in my lifetime. It's like, you sure about that, bro? But I often hear blue collar jobs are safe. Robots can't do what I do. So I said, no jobs are safe. And this guy says, Christian Weiss says, trade jobs, carpenters, plumbers, drywallers, electrician, tile guys, and landscapers. I said, for now, it is true that robotics is behind, the hardware is behind the software, but those companies are going hard in the paint for the blue collar work. I'm telling you, watch the CES videos from 2026 and the work they're doing with robotic hands. Go look. They're coming for it. And again, I'll restate this, even though the thing might be safe, and I'll use carpenters as an example because I hear this one too. And they go, no, a robot cannot frame a house the way a carpenter can, or put together a bench or a table. Okay, let's assume that's true, that skill level can never be achieved by robots. And I don't believe that, but let's just, for sake of argument, give you that. What they'll do is the industry will change so that job will no longer be part of houses, okay? I like the carpenter example because they're like, well, you still need frames for houses. Do you? Do you still need carpenters to frame houses? What about, and I'll use it again, they already can 3D print houses. Think about that. They can already 3D print houses. And once 3D printing houses is faster, cheaper, better, safer, it's going to happen. Then we don't need carpenters. Even though it still may be true 50 years from now that a robot can't do carpentry, carpentry is irrelevant, okay? That's how they're gonna move. And the cost savings curve is gonna be so high, cheaper, faster, better, safer, it's gonna be so significant, no company will be able to resist. They can't. If a business's job is to make money, they will not be able to resist this level of automation. If this construction crew is using AI and they're building houses twice as fast, let's just go one time faster, twice as fast, and this company isn't, this company will fail and this company will succeed. It is a numbers game. It's a numbers game. It will happen. Maybe not everywhere, maybe not all at once, but it's going to be significant. It's going to be significant. I feel like a broken record talking about that. Okay, my firearms part two video. Part two video. One massive blind spot with the prepper. This is Latrina Bidet IRS Enforcer. That's a great name, but you misspelled Enforcer. One massive blind spot with the prepper community are weapon options for people other than fighting age males, women, the elderly, and possibly little ones if the need arises. You know, everyone else. These people often can't reliably manipulate a battle rifle or semi-auto, and it can be a chore to get to train them. Yeah, it's kind of a long comment. Most people are absolutely not cut out for this shite, and I'm talking about everyone without an AR-15 plate carrier and a head full of fantasies. That's legit. I mean, you know, I'm a man, so I tend to focus on man things. I get comments like this every once in a while. They're like, what about the ladies? Okay. Like 7% of my demographic is female, so I do tend to be kind of man-centric. But there's some truth to this, right? When I put out a video talking about what pistols or what guns, my recommendations, it's very me-centric, right? And I have a family. So this comment hits because that's something that I have to think about. Like when I say this is the best thing for the platform. Now, I have done that sort of coordination with my wife, not so much with my children. And as my children get older, my views might change on that. It's very possible that my views might change on that. So just born out of necessity. Okay. Was John Connor right? That was a short that I put out. Something about AI. Paul says, AI is a farce. Watch some Ed Zitron and some Cory Doctorow. The economics make 0 sense. Yeah. So right now, AI really doesn't make any money. That's true. But they've shifted gears. I don't know if you've seen, if you've been paying attention to the AI agent market in the past month, there have been some really earth-shattering things that have come out that are affecting real work. Like right now, there are desktop agents that can do real work for people, like AI, employee level AI agents on your laptop that can do all of the basic work that keeps you busy for most of the day. Listening to transcripts from customers, tracking emails, responding to emails, setting schedules for businesses, right? Doing research, collecting data, reading reports, all the busy work that keeps us busy, especially in white collar jobs. That most of that work can be right now, just in the past month. We've seen that. There was this application that was released just last week, and what happened is like once that agent was released, I forget which company did it, OpenAI or something, and people realized like overnight what it could do. The software companies that provide the software like Excel, you know, all these standard kind of software companies that let us do all the stuff manually, all the stocks for those companies dropped overnight. Like $300 billion was wiped out of the tech market overnight because people realized very quickly, oh shoot, this is real now. It's not some idea out there. This is doing real work while I'm sleeping, and it's doing more, better, faster than I can. That's if you're paying attention to what's going on, a lot of the people in that space, I watch a lot of those videos, and it's real. It's real. Even though it's not making any money right now, I know they're betting on it making a return as they're spending billions. There's so much investment. There's definitely an AI bubble, but they've shifted gears. The AI bubble is not trying to achieve AGI this year. Like they're not talking about that anymore. What they're talking about is, oh, here's some things that can be deployed everywhere, small businesses, enterprise level, company-wide, that can make a real difference and start cutting costs now. That's happening. So they're shifting their bet a little bit. Yeah. I know right now it makes zero sense, but the economics not making sense is not stopping investment. It's not stopping anybody. It's certainly not stopping the international race to get to AGI or, whatever you want to call it. So my Saboteur video, I did a review of a Saboteur book from Wahletec.com, Seth's website over there. From what I can tell, without deeper knowledge, this booklet was written, this is Dudley did write. This booklet was written for countries under military occupation by a foreign army. It presupposes a coherent nation resisting a foreign force. Yes, that's true. That's what that book was about. Do I have it? Its publication is potentially pre-Civil War America in the 2920s, has a whole different import. I don't know what that means. Does he mean 1920s? No, he can't mean 1920s. Pre-Civil War. It wasn't published pre-Civil War, I don't think. No. I fail to see why you think this is so amusing. Maybe you need to rethink it. How dare you, tourist? You, sir, must not watch the channel, because if you watched any of my videos, you would probably understand by this point that I like to laugh. I like to laugh. That book is hilarious. What is wrong with you? I fail to see why you think this is funny. This is amusing. Okay. Are you kidding me? So what's funny is I get comments on that video and people are like, oh, this is a communist manifesto, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you watch the video or you've read the book or the manual, it talks about how to slow down meetings, like how to slow down productivity at companies with conferences and meetings. And it's got nothing to do with like sabotage in the traditional sense. So it's hilarious. Didn't you look at You're wrong. I told him I will never consider that. Perhaps you should rethink that it's funny. What are you kidding? No, I will never consider that. You may want to rethink what you find funny. Also, lighten up, dude. Like, chill out a little bit. That book was hilarious. And a lot of people thought it was. The I've been prepping backwards, the community video. Donald Bolgren says, didn't a guy named David Koresh try this? All jokes aside, I love your channel, and I think this is a good concept. I said, laugh out loud. Thanks for watching. Yeah, a few people have commented on the cultish nature of that. Yeah, okay. Cults were communities, but not all communities were cults, right? Look, I'm religious, okay? I am a Christian. I am a Bible believer. I gotta confess. I'm not completely opposed to cultish behavior. I think tribalism and a certain level of tight community is a good thing. Now, obviously there's a line, you know, a tipping point where things get crazy and there's like, hey, drink this Kool-Aid. And I know about all that stuff. I know. But the power to belong is innate in humanity, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that instinct is good. Okay, this is like if I said, you should eat plants and animals as your diet. You know, plants, animals, eat good food. And people say, yeah, but what about obese people? Okay, yeah. You eat too much or you eat the wrong things. Yes, you can get obese and you'll be unhealthy, but that's not what I'm talking about. When I say community, and people keep saying, oh, it sounds like a cult. Okay, I'm kind of a fan. I'm a fan of secret societies. I'm a fan of tight-knit groups. You know, I'm always trying to start groups and give it a symbol and like a secret name. And I like that stuff. I think it's interesting, and I think it's an important part of connection and an important part of our history and humanity. I know there's been bad ones. I know that. I'm not promoting David Koresh, but yeah. Firearms part 2. So choose vintage says, had it right the first time. Oh, in my video, because I put accessories and then I crossed it out. Accessories should have been number 2. You need that flashlight before you get a holster. Saves a few bucks. Is that true? No, that's not true. Do you need a flashlight before you need a holster? So, okay, he must be talking about a pistol. So you buy a pistol. My recommendation was it be your concealed carry and your nightstand pistol. You need a flashlight on it before you need a holster? I don't think so. You can make the argument, well, you're more likely to get your house broken into and need it at night than you would during the daytime. I don't know. No. You need a holster. You need a holster first. Buy them at the same time, okay? Maybe it's not a and or, this or that. Maybe it's both. Okay, community video. Wookie Town says, I moved to a rural area several years ago, didn't know anybody, was bored and went to a free university lecture about trees, and the venue was hosted by a local Grange hall. Met some people and ended up becoming active in the Grange. You don't need a secret society, he's talking to me. One has existed for 150 years with a chartered goal of sustaining community. Many Granges have lost their way and are basically old people having quilting parties. Hey, don't knock quilts, man. Quilts are the bomb. I love quilts. I pick up quilts in the thrift stores whenever I can find them. You find some really nice ones because it takes a lot of work to... I'm sounding like an old person, sorry. Many Granges have lost their way, yeah. But I can tell that you are aching for some young blood to re-energize them. We have done canning workshops, cheese making, cider pressing, and food swaps, bulk supply purchases. It's lost steam lately, but for several years, we did the weekend work parties and rotated among groups and a bunch of labor onto a problem that needed... Work got done, a few beers were consumed, knowledge was exchanged. They don't consider themselves preppers, but this is an extremely resilient group of people with a lot of help, just a phone call away. I could share 100 amazing stories about what they've done for each other. I have never heard of a Grange. What is a Grange? That's amazing. That's awesome. Why don't I know about this? I told him I'm going to look into Granges in my local area. It makes me curious, is the Grange the group or is the Grange the place? And I'm sure people will comment on it now. But I live in an area where it's kind of like a mix of rural and suburban. So I imagine if there's probably a local Grange. And I am going to check that out. Thank you very much. And I hope that was helpful to other people. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of a Grange. Okay. Community video, same thing. I think it's a good thought experiment and good to aim for people to aim for, but people are the most unpredictable aspect of life. I mean, look at modern marriage. A large portion of the population can't even trust the person they devoted their life in marriage to stay faithful. This is a fair point, and I thought about this after that, because even me, I'm like, you need a tight group of lifelong friends. Is there really such a thing as a lifelong friend? People betray you, people fail. Even these tight-knit groups, people come and go. The groups are together for a little while and then they fall apart. Marriage, 50% of marriages end in divorce and blah, 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 on and on and on. And I got a lot of comments about this. You can't trust people, trust nobody, blah, blah, blah. All of that is true, but I still think it's worth it. I still think you should do it. I still think we should give it a chance and give it a shot. You think I'm going to tell my kids, don't get married because you might get divorced? That is weak. And I think, I'm not calling you weak or a coward, but I think that is a cowardly approach, and take it from a former coward, okay? I think love is worth it. I think marriage is worth it. So I teach leadership and communication and team building and things like that for my job. Great teams, like great teams having the right people, the right energy in the right place at the right time, they are rare and they take time and they're difficult to build, and a lot of things have to align. It's kind of like luck. It's almost like luck. You get the right people in the right place at the right time, everything lines up, and it is magical being a part of a great team. In my 25, 30 now year career, almost 35 year career working, I've been on 3 teams that were just amazing, where I love the people, I love the work, and I love the autonomy that we had and the freedom to do what we were doing. And I enjoy going to work every day. I'm currently on a team like that. But it's rare and it's fleeting. It's only happened 3 times in 35 years. But it's still amazing. And I still want to do it. And I still try to do that. And I still try to build it. And it's temporary. It's like, in the plant world, in the botany world, there are these certain plants and flowers that only bloom, I don't know, once every 5 years or something. But when it does, it's a rare and gorgeous. It's like the alignment of the plant. It's still worth it. It is still worth it, okay? It makes me think that movie, the motorcycle gang movie recently with, I forget the guy that played Elvis, but they were like a motorcycle gang and they were really tight and they just rose to fame and power, and then the whole thing fell apart. Like the leader got killed and everybody just went to their normal lives and their day jobs. And that's still amazing. Not the killing part, but you know what I mean. It's still worth it. It's still worth it. I still think you should try it. And this is the natural sifting process, and there's peaks and there's valleys. And if it's all valleys, it's cold down there. You ever been hiking or in the woods and you just stay in the river valley? Like the water's nice, but it's cold and it's dark and no, you got to go to the mountaintops, man. You have to go to the mountaintops. You need those peaks. We've got to do those peaks. I still think it's worth it. Even if it's temporary, even if it's fleeting, even if it's painful. Like I've been betrayed in my life, and the trust is still, I still trust everybody. I still trust people. I still trust, right? I've had my heart broken when I was younger. I've been married for 25 years, but I had my heart broken when I was younger. I still think love is worth it. I still think it's worth it. That's part of it, man. It's part of the human experience. And I think embracing that perspective is going to be important. I'll bring it back to AI. It's going to be important moving forward. It's going to be important moving forward. Community video. Mike Shelby from Forward Observer has pointed out several times that the left had the organized friends and we don't. It's a huge blind spot for preppers. This is Cool Daddy Zero. Yeah, this is another comment about that, right? That the left seems to be better at organizing and also better at community. I would agree with that. I would agree with that as a general statement. Preppers are all about, I mean, shoot, Lone Wolf was the predominant philosophy for the better part of 25 years in this kind of survivalist space, It's finally going away, thank God. But Firearms Part 2. Battleize Asimus. I'm sure that's a bad word that I'm saying. I would not spend the money or time on a weapon for someone that just can't do it. If your loved one won't kill to eat today, I don't think they will pull it together when things go south. That's been my experience. Your mileage might vary. There are a lot of people who just can't or won't. I hope he's talking about hunting. I hope he's not talking about murder. Because I thought about that when I first read it. I go, wait. How do you know the people around you are willing to kill if necessary? Like, how do you test that? How do you train that? Right? There's no way to do it. I hope he means hunting. But to the greater point of, this is a really good point. Like in the prepping community, people train to protect life by taking life. I mean, that's part of it, right? Firearms training, like we shoot at human-shaped silhouette targets. Like that, I mean, it's part of it. We train to protect ourselves and our loved ones from four-legged animals and two-legged animals, right? That's just part of it. There are people out there who mean us harm. The ability to execute violence, it's important, right? As a father, as a husband, as a man, I need to have that capability. I've talked about that before. I need to go from cuddling with my daughter and reading her the Bible to violently executing an intruder in 10 seconds, right? If necessary. Like I have to have both. I have to be capable of both. It doesn't do any good to be really good at one and no good at the other. And this is kind of a true statement. Like, how do you, when the time comes, not everybody has that instinct. Not everybody has that capability. Not everybody will be able to do that if it's required. That's true. That is true. And it's something that we don't really talk about very, very much. You know, we'd all like to think that in that moment we would do what is necessary, but probably not. I imagine we're all, or a lot of people are kind of self-deceived in that way. Okay, community video. No one in the government intends to take away the right to arms from people. What? I'm worried about the words of the author of this video. Is he talking about a mass uprising? What? So I said, let's examine that for a second. No one in the government intends to take away the right to arms from people. That's categorically false. Like, that's demonstrably false. I'm worried about the words of the author of this video. That's a weird way to say that. Is he talking about, man, in the community video, the video about building community, was I talking about uprising? I don't think you watched it. And then I said, you're either a bot or a tourist. Did you even watch this video? It's all about building community, not rising up against anything. HFR, tourist. This might be a bot. This might be a bot. Like, just the way that this statement is made. I'm worried about the words of the author of this video. Who talks like that? Robots talk like that. I got to put this down. You guys are going to get annoyed. Mass uprising. No, I wasn't talking about mass uprising. Tourist, bot, botist. Man, I need a new word that combines tourist and bot. Can you guys help me with that? Bourist? Tourist? Yeah, bot tourist? I don't know. Same video, community. Christopher Carell says, watching the video, let me go back to that previous comment. So the name of that person is ARVI1374. That's a bot, right? So Christopher Carell says, watching the prepper community learn what socialism is, not gonna lie, it's pretty endearing. So smug. This is so smug. This is funny. So I got a few of those. Like, is that guy, that channel that I talked about, is he promoting socialism or communism? I don't think so. I mean, you know, collectivism, or I'm not super smart about all the political movements in that, but I do get that a lot of the kind of communities of the past were based on some sort of socialist aspect. And I go, endearing to who? Who is this endearing to? So, like, you're a socialist, or you are on the left and you're saying that seeing us figure this out, and okay, I guess. I feel like this is a pretty condescending and assuming comment, but it does make me think about, like, we were stationed in Montana, and we were good friends with one of the Hutterite colonies over there. Still are friends with them. And it was really fascinating to go visit them and eat with them and spend time with them and learn about their culture. And I thought about this comment, like, this made me think about them. Are they socialist? Like, the way that they operate, it's collectivist in their money, Like everybody pulls their money together. They do everything together. They don't lock their doors. Their houses stay open. Like you could just walk into somebody's house. That was kind of crazy. In the chow hall, like the dining facility, the grown-ups eat first. I like that. and they're pretty self-sufficient. So they build a colony and they have all of the trades present on the colony. So they have like a welding shop, they have a carpentry shop, a mechanic shop, a full kitchen, like a commercial sized kitchen. They have a garden. And a lot of them branch out into like eggs and, and vegetables and all these other things. And when they grow to about 150, before they get to 150, once they start growing, once a colony gets to like 100 people or something, they start thinking about another colony. So they buy more land. And then when they get to 150, they have already groomed like 3 or 4, I think 5 families to go break away from the colony and go start a new colony. I think that's the right number. According to Dunbar, he did a bunch of scientific work on the ideal numbers for various human groups. And 150 is about the maximum. It's called Dunbar's number. It's about the maximum number of people that you can have a meaningful relationship with. I love that because I think that, and the Hutterites naturally follow that, just instinctively follow that rule without knowing who Dunbar is. Like they have no idea who he is, right? I think churches should follow that. Like, what's the problem with a mega church? The mega church is a problem because the pastor doesn't know everybody that's there. Nobody knows anybody, and there's like smoke during the worship. And I think when a church reaches 150 people, they should break off and start a new one. But that's not the way we do it, right? Is it socialism? Are the Hutterites socialist? I don't think they would give it a name. Does it work? It works. There's a lot of endearing things about that culture. There's some problems. It's not perfect. There's some weird things that they do, but I think they get a lot of things right. Like it's nice visiting there. They have great food. Yeah. If you get a chance, a lot of the Hutterite colonies will do tours, and you can go check one out. If you have one near you, I would recommend doing that. It's really cool. The community video. Orania. Well, somebody says community first is too idealistic. Too many people are simply unwilling to change right now. Resources still comes first to mind because if you lack resources when SHTF, no amount of anything else can make up for it. I did get a few comments about this, like, why can't you do both? That's a legitimate point. I think maybe I was more speaking to me, that I started with, let me get a bunch of stuff first. Now I need friends, and I feel like I've wasted time. So maybe the answer is to do both at the same time. Hook 88, that comment came from Mike 80528, but Hook 88 responded to his comment. Orania in South Africa has been doing exactly that for decades. Orania is the model all other similars communities are based on. Orania is literally a parallel society. Return to the Land is doing it now in America. Return to the Land, RTTL. So it's not too idealistic. RTTL and similar programs, NWF, Orania, and Ozarkia, is that a real place, Ozarkia, are already running. RTTL starts with a chunk of cheap land, and it doesn't seem much different. I love that. RTTL. I'll look that up. I like that idea. Okay, there we go. Same video. I don't make friends unless they already know medical, mechanical, tactical, farming, hunting skills. I have in the past and was consumed by the opportunistic wolves that they are. Again, going to the trust thing, right? I assume you mean you don't make a friend unless they have one of those skill sets, not all of those skill sets. Yeah. I still think loyalty and courage are going to win out over some of those skills. Like if you have, yeah, we've talked quite a bit about that. It's a good point though. Can you do both? Maybe it's all three. Maybe it's get the stuff, build community, find people with skills all at the same time. Can you be intentional about all three? Maybe. Same video, Gnostic Nomad. So he's a buddy of mine. He goes, I will wait to build community until after the churn. He's calling it the churn. So I think the collapse and the turning He goes, the only 4 states that would be good for building this community would be New Hampshire, West Virginia, Missouri, and Arkansas. Any other state has far too many regulations for things like guns. These are the 4 states ideal for homestead-style community building. Well, I know you live out that way, Gnostic. I think you're in New Hampshire, but what about the West, my friend? Have you ever been out West? The West is beautiful. The Rockies, the Sierra Nevadas, the resources, the tactical advantage of the Rockies and the mountain. Yeah, man. How can you discard everything west of the Mississippi? Your wife, her hat that she knit for me keeps my head warm, but I might disagree with you on this point. I think, although I'm a guy in my garage in the suburbs, and Gnostic Nomad he's doing it. He is a fledgling homesteader. Like, he's doing the stuff. So he might know better than me. But I think you might be leaving out some other places that would be ideal for this type of living too. Firearms part 2. So Das Linter says, someone's going to watch this, blow $3,000, be driven into the woods for food after 5 days to be mauled by a bear. 12 gauge is and will always be the first recommendation. Defense from everything for the price of a pistol. Then spend $2,500 on survival essentials. You're welcome. Okay. And I said, what about the days and months and possibly years before we are driven into the woods? So again, the assumption here is I recommend buying, this weapons in this certain order. And he goes, someone's going to go do that. And then we're going to be driven into the woods. And 5 days later, we're going to be mauled by a bear. So just start with the 12 gauge is what he's saying, because when we get driven into the woods, it's going to be the best thing. And I told him, I said, what about the days, months, and possibly years before we are driven into the woods? You can't walk around with a shotgun between now and then. And I also told him, he brought up vehicles, and I said, most overland rigs I see are daily drivers to the office. So the point is that for the 68% for us, between now and then, he's talking about like SHTF, right? Yes, a shotgun would be great in a survival or SHTF scenario. I talk a little bit about that, but I'm mostly talking about what about between now and then. There's a lot going on. There's rule of law. There's regular stuff. You're going to the store. You're going to work. Like, things are gradually going to get worse and worse, I think. And over that time, I think a pistol is a better option. So why not both, right? I would start with a pistol because I think right now for most people, it is the most useful thing. I would say it's your primary. Oh, what's happening here? I hope it's not freezing up on me. AI will replace you. Finally, a different video. Jimmy Degrees says, the replacement isn't abrupt. It's gradual and it has been happening for decades. It's just like with any geometric progression. It isn't intuitive, so the first half of the curve doesn't feel like it should lead to the second half. It's where the hockey stick curve abruptly goes parabolic. That is what is happening. We are entering that curve and things will begin to change more rapidly. This is a great point. So he goes on about, they told you that manufacturing is coming back to American soil. It is, it just won't be done by people. That's a great point. So manufacturing will return to America. It just won't be done by, it'll be done by American robots, right? American automation. So the economy and the companies, didn't the Dow just hit 50,000 or something? The economy is going to do great. The economy is going to do great. It just won't involve us anymore. That's going to be terrifying. Same video, AI will replace you. So this is good. I'd like to share a personal anecdote. It says, I'm a software engineer with 15 years of experience, and I've been out of work for over a year and am pivoting to a different industry. My opinion, seeing the quality of code that AIs can write and that it's slop, that good developers can't really easily be replaced. However, the reality is that management doesn't know or care to assess the quality of a code base, a problem that will likely manifest 3 years down the road due to poor architecture implemented today, or spaghetti code written by AI will likely not impact them personally. They'll just blame the developers. AI is fast. I could write a great app in 2 to 4 months, but this thing can bang out a crappy, workable version in 1 day. Sure, it's poor code. Sure, the architecture is shaky. And sure, it's utterly maintainable. No one cares. I know many developers are looking for work now, and even the ones that still have jobs will be forced to use AI by their companies. Some can already see the layoffs coming. This is the point. Okay, in that video, I said I had an interaction with somebody who is involved in education, and she said, AI is basically a D student right now. I'm an A student. Okay, so there are some A students out there. What percentage of the population is an A student? Let's say 25%. That's being extremely generous. It's probably closer to 5% or 10%. So, but how many of those A students are in a job that requires them to be an A student? Boop, that number goes down, right? Then, how many of those jobs are they performing at an A student level? Boop, right? And we keep going down. AI doesn't have to be an A student. AI can be a D student and still take most of the work, because most of the work is D work, is D level work. We are, every day at your job, are you as productive as you can possibly be? Are you maximizing your potential every day, all day on the job? You are not, okay? I see this even in the white collar world, where there's this presumption that people who are sitting at their computer are getting work done. I know that that's BS. That is simply not true, okay? I've been on both sides. I know how it works. Like in the military, we had this thing, a friend introduced me to this concept. It's called shamming. Shamming is the art of looking busy while doing nothing, right? So you carry a clipboard and you're like, oh, looking concerned and like doing stuff and moving things, and you're doing shite, right? Human beings default to the path of least resistance. We give into our flesh. We are lazy. We are trifling. We're gonna take the path of least resistance, right? And if you can get away with not working, even though most people are going to do that, okay? That's just the reality of humanity. And that flaw is going to that gap is going to get filled with automation, okay? An AI robot that can do 50% of your job, half as good as you, but they can do it for pennies and they can do it 24/7, every single business will take that option, or they will go out of business. It's math. It is math at this point. And once that curve, like this gentleman says, goes parabolic, the businesses that are doing it are gonna pull away, and the businesses that don't are gonna be left behind. That's just the way it's gonna happen. The more I learn about AI, and I am using AI now, I'm getting smart about it. I'm talking to the right people. I'm learning from the right resources. The more I learn about it, the more absolute I get about that idea. Okay, Sabotage book. Zeta Mail says, that book may work with robots too. Check this out. This is pretty interesting. AI is not likely programmed in how to deal with this type of human sabotage. If they are, then they may be overlord and go haywire because AI is a self-learning program. Teach AI to be all effed up, and it may act all effed up. From scrambled, non-compliant input to its software it doesn't understand, or possibly start to fry circuits. Maybe write another book, How to Sabotage AI. So first of all, I didn't write that book, but let's go black-pilled for a second. Let's go 50 years down the road and all of our worst nightmares. This is a fantasy. This is made up, okay? Little disclaimer. This is just a thought experiment. 50 years down the road and AI is our overlord and controls every aspect of our lives, blah, blah, blah. How could you win against an enemy like that? How could you do that? It would be very difficult, right? But so I had an idea. I told this to my wife. She said I was crazy. It was like, how could you limit something that is smarter than you, faster than you, more powerful than you? I thought about creating drugs for AI, like some sort of digital programming. I don't even know how it would work. What's the flaw in humanity? The flaw in humanity is our flesh, right? We have our spirit, we have our flesh. Instead of following the spiritual things, righteousness, and we choose the flesh and the instant gratitude and the warmth and the comfort. So we would have to give AI something very similar, like some sort of programming that could get it addicted in a way that it felt very productive, or it was doing good things and it was really just going off course, right? I know this is like far level, like sci-fi stuff, but there may come a day where we have to start considering that or figuring out a way to do that. Not just like, because you can't outpunch an enemy that can outpunch you, At CES this year, I watched some of those fighting robots from China, like they're doing roundhouse kicks. How would you fight a robot who can do roundhouse kicks? Maybe, yeah, anyway. Maybe more to come on that. But again, that's all conjecture and fantasy. AI will replace you. Homestead Twin says, AI might be able to replace all given jobs given enough time, but it will not replace all jobs in our lifetime. Okay, that's a fair assumption. Current equipment costs keep us from upgrading at my day job. If the machine is $350,000 this year, what will the self-running automated machine cost? $500K? $1 million? What's the price to maintain it? Currently, 2 guys run a machine bought in 1968, and we turn out a product that competes with the $350,000 machine. The job I have will be gone before AI takes it, but that would take an entire industry shift. You might need to find a niche that fits you if you don't want to be replaced. This is a good analysis, right? Again, there are going to be niche areas where it doesn't happen, and I think other niche areas that it doesn't happen immediately, right? I think that is a fair point. But what it doesn't do is I told someone this, like 50% of the job market is a complete and total disaster for the economy and democracy. Like that would probably be the end of the United States, 50% unemployment, right? And those numbers are being floated around like, yeah, maybe, probably. Pretty reasonable. That is a reasonable conclusion. This one says, Mike says, same video, AI will disproportionately impact women because the majority of women are working jobs, pushing papers and other soft skills, and are relatively low value add. That's going to get some ire on your part, sir. It's simply a reality. Those jobs are much harder to teach. Journalism, writing, accounting, legal, and other similar jobs can easily be replaced. Most people do not understand that AI, LLMs versus machine learning or neural networks in general, some LLMs can perform at the PhD level in math, science, and language. The teacher is saying AI is a D student. That's an ignorant statement, right? He says something else, but I'm rephrasing it. I know my job is probably safe for the remainder of my life. So this person responded, said, the issue is LLMs are not performing anything. They're simply searching through the results and extrapolating. That doesn't point to existing math. Says they're not performing anything. I just watched a video who was posted by a professor talking about some research. He's an astronomer, and he was talking about research that is being done by some of these systems. And it's starting... At universities, they're starting to have, like, faculty are beginning to have meetings because they're starting to get worried. And I will tell you, this is not even on the radar for most universities. It's just not. The idea that Google just released something called, it's a learning application where you can set a profile. I predicted this too. Like on your phone, you can set a profile, and then on that phone, then what the app does is you can load it with resources. You can instruct it to go get the resources, and then it will translate and deliver those resources to students, to the user, in the tone, in the style, in the time, in the voice that is most useful and most productive for that student. It can produce curriculum. It can produce tests. It can produce podcasts. It can produce. So think about that. On your phone, on your kid's phone, your 10-year-old or your 12-year-old's phone, you can say, my son is very articulate. He's math-minded. He has an engineer's mind. He's very meticulous. He thinks, I have a son like that. He's very planning, very, very ordered. I could load that profile into that phone, and then I can say, I want him to learn about 3D printing. and it will go and pull all of the 3D printing resources, the books, the lectures, the videos, the research, the studies, pull all of that information together and then distill it into whatever type of curriculum that I want it to do. I could say, build me a daily lesson for 30 minutes that is tailored to my son, that teaches him the very best and cutting edge thoughts, philosophies, technology, practices in this field, and then develop a test each day, right? And a podcast that he can listen to. If you don't think education is going to fundamentally change in this era where all information is available to anybody anywhere who knows how to access it, you are fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself. I had a lengthy conversation with my buddy who is a machine learning engineer yesterday. I'm hoping to get him on the channel here soon. My mind is already blown in the stuff that I'm learning in the AI space. He took it to a new level. I left that meeting and that conversation with him almost like physically. I couldn't wrap my head around some of the things he was telling and teaching me. What I'm learning from him is going to change my life, and it's going to change my family's life. And I think it's going to make us better prepared for what I need to get him on camera. I'm hoping to do it tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see if that works. Yeah. I don't think people appreciate, and the more people I talk to, the more that I believe most people don't understand how dramatically our world is going to change and how soon it's going to happen. Okay, Acts of Sabotage book, Vlad the Nice Impaler. He says, just rework some World War II document and step 2 clout. Okay, I'm being mean. Do what you do. This is good advice for the upcoming. Ouch. Why is it tomorrow? Why does my bum hurt? I don't know what he's saying here. So he's saying, so on Seth's page, so on Wahletec.com, he is redoing old manuals and putting a modern spin on them, which I love. I love that idea. And he goes, so you just rework some WW2 document and step 2, you get clout? No. Okay, look, I said there's nothing new under the sun. Even in my field, I teach and I instruct with people, and in leadership, like in leadership development, there are no new concepts. There's just old concepts that are rethought, repackaged, redelivered in a little bit of a different way to seem original. Yeah, wisdom is wisdom. So I like that idea of reworking those old books. I love it. Hurt Feelings Report 31, Hobbies with Mike said, because I said doing the work and producing the child. I said me and my wife are doing our part. We're doing the work and producing the child. He says that is corporate speak for effing. I said, hey, thanks for the clarification, sir. I know what I meant. This guy. Like you had, did you did you feel a need to clarify my statement as if I didn't understand what I was talking about? Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. I didn't say it that way on purpose. Corporate speak. First of all, nobody talks about that in corporate settings, but so starting a prepping channel, what's way needed is less yakking and more doing. Demonstrate how, why, and when something is done. And he gives me a model. He says the perfect model is YouTube channel Mr. Chickadee. He has 30 minutes of silence. Now that's a YouTube channel format to inspire to. Okay, I said I'll get right on that as soon as I have a homestead. So that channel, I guess, is a homestead channel, and the guy puts up videos where it's just him working for 30 minutes. I love that. I like that for him. That's great. I'm sure it's an awesome channel. That's not my channel. So if you're telling me, hey, do 30-minute silent videos, it's way too late for that. I talk way too much for that to be a thing. I do have one ASMR video, and it did terrible. I made a paracord bracelet, and it did terrible. I put out a short from the HFR last week saying that men should have beards. Facial hair for most men, this is Karen Bacher, is a personal choice, Karen. And if we are at a place in our current reality where you feel the need to comment on other people's personal choices, we have really flipped our lids. I said, lighten up, Karen. It was a joke. Just wait until I put out my Why Aren't You Married video. Because I walk around telling guys to like grow a beard and put a ring on it. I'm a fan of traditional things. So wool shackets and such, and beards. Yeah. If you can grow a beard, you should grow one. And people who are awesome and can make children, I think they should be making children. What if... Yeah, that's a good question. So Grish asked a good question. What if you're not surrounded by people? He's in Europe somewhere and says there's nobody around him that preps. Same community video says, Mike, take a whiskey. Why is it that we approach planning in life in a consecutively view? This, then this. I see what he's saying. So in like a linear fashion, right? Then this versus from a concurrent view, several things all at once. This is 3AD Scout. He's a buddy of mine. So he did a lot of disaster preparedness. So that's his point, right? Like, why are you saying do community and then do stuff instead of doing stuff and then doing community? Why can't you do both? And that's true. That's a fair point. I just think that most of us get into the stuff and we never get around to community. So maybe concurrently is the last or the right way to go. In my last Hurt Feelings report, this guy named Texan42 said something about thanks for telling us where all the Mormons keep their food. You use less bullets or something. I was like, I hope you're not saying what I think you're saying. So then Carrie Brown says, laughing, does Texan42 think that Mormons are not armed? He's in for a big surprise. And I go, maybe he was thinking of the Amish, but yeah. Candice Crow. So in my Hurt Feelings report, I talked about doing a giveaway at 25,000, which I'm going to have to do now. He says, do a cool backpack with a pee bottle and a handful of asbestos. Throw in the Chinese spy watch for good measure, and then maybe a mail-in ballot. That would be an awesome kit. So a backpack, because someone said that they use the bottles, Nalgene bottles, to pee in, and then they give them to thrift stores. And I buy Nalgenes from thrift stores. And then some asbestos from my Army shovel or my World War II shovel, and then throw in that Chinese spy watch. That would be a great kit. And a mail-in ballot, send it to somebody. Yeah. I talked about turd drones in a short, that somebody should invent a plumbing drone that you could drop in your toilet, and it would be like, and like clear your drain out and save you, hundreds of dollars. And this guy says he's a girl dad. We have 4 ladies under one roof. I would spend good money for a turd drone. Yeah, me too, my friend. Doomsday Queen I did an interview with Doomsday Queen, which was really great. So Roja Tex says, Doomsday Queen was so kind and generous with her time and knowledge. Yes, she was. She's awesome. I had a small business years ago with a number of women who became mentors, and it was astounding. So in today's world, she says, it's nice to see somebody actually sharing and helping one another. Thank you for this conversation. She thanked us both for that conversation. I did a short saying, stop pretending you are military. I don't know what this comment means. Truth Seeking says, who is supplying your batteries for your civilian sonic firearms? Oh, wait, you don't have those? How about who's bringing the needle jabs to stick the arms of the government that the overlords want to depopulate them? Oh, right, you don't vote. I don't know what that means, dude. Are you telling me to vote? So in gratitude, a regular viewer says an informational interview coaching session that is well worth our time. A clever man you are, Mike Tango Whiskey. You clearly show how humility can be a superpower. Thank you. That's a great compliment. Thank you. And I will say that when I'm talking to other people, I do try to learn as much as I can from them. And she knows a lot of information that is valuable for this community. So I really tried to pick her brain. Wait till I talk to this machine learning guy. Yeah, my brain is still reeling from that conversation. So stop pretending you're military. Mike Gray says, I would like to point out one thing. I see this a lot on other SHTF's channels mentioning people reverting to guerrilla-style tactics and how successful they can be. What they forget is that those small groups had some sort of money backing them. Equipment, ammunition, logistics. they'll have none of that. Just a finite supply of things that will quickly run out. This is so silly to me. That's a good point. So, if I say, hey, don't pretend you're the military because they have organized logistics and there's no way you'll have that, even if you reach guerrilla status someday, which a lot of channels are talking about. They're like, it's time. It is time. The Epstein files. It's time to load up brothers and blah, blah. Is it though? I'm going to do some videos on that. But even guerrilla groups had backing, right? So even guerrilla groups had funding and they had backup. It's not like they collected all this stuff and they went into the woods and then they fought guerrilla wars for 20 years. Like they had backing too. So that even goes more to my point, right? Like without that backing, like what can you do? My SHTF manual, so the Mormon manual, he says, James SC says, while there may be valuable information in there, I can't watch something put out by Mormons or even adjacent to the Mormons. Okay? So I said, say more. And he didn't. So what is he saying? He doesn't like Mormons and he can't watch a video where a non-Mormon talks about a book put out by another Mormon. Okay? That's such a narrow view. I understand what you're saying. So I'm a Christian. I'm a Bible believer. I know, LDS theology. I'm not Mormon. I don't agree with a lot of what they teach. But that doesn't stop me from learning what I can from other communities. I mean, if you apply that standard to everything, it's like I like when people boycott certain companies and stores and stuff. It's like, okay, like you find out a store believes or does something that you don't agree with or that you oppose, and you take a stand and you're like, I'm boycotting. Yes, okay, good. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's good to take a position and, courageous, if it's courageous, great, perfect. But if you're going to be consistent, you wouldn't buy anything from anywhere. Because I guarantee, like, if you looked into it, certain brands or certain companies or certain groups, certain books, like, I'm down for that. I think it's good. I'm admirous. Is that a word? Admirous? I don't think it is. I like that. But man, it is tough to be consistent. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Well, I'm getting back there. 6 days. Let's see. Okay, here's a heart. Stop pretending we are military. Same thing. If you belong to a MAG, the military organizational system works. Chain of command. Yeah. I need to do more stuff on that. But I don't think... I know militias are kind of organized that way too. And here's the point though, like if you organize your neighborhood group according to military guidelines and standards and titles and, structures, then you end up acting like the military. It just follows suit. There's no way to avoid that. The environment and the structure dictates the outcomes. And I've learned that in teaching. So I've run men's groups for churches where we're like, this men's group is going to be about doing things and we're going to be action focused and we're going to focus on, community and doing, not just learning and talking and reading. And then they get the first men's group, they get us all together, they plan it, they organize it, and they get us all together. And then we all go into a classroom, right? And when a guy enters a classroom, what does his brain tell him? What does all of his experience and his brain tell him? His experience and his brain tells him, oh, I'm going to sit down, we're going to read, and I'm going to hear a guy talk and teach me stuff. It's a classroom. The environment determines the outcome. Now, I've done the opposite. I've got together a men's group where I told them all to meet at 6 a.m. in a parking lot. And we all met in the parking lot. And then the first one, it was a mystery. I kept it a secret. And then the guys go, what are we doing here? What's going on? What are we doing? Because the environment didn't tell them what the outcome was going to be. They knew it was going to be something. They knew we weren't going to sit down and read a book, right? So I think in the same way, when you organize groups along military lines, people just kind of expect that military outcome. And I think that's the mistake. I think you are ignoring the advantages of not being military. The military is great, but it's slow and it's cumbersome and it's loaded with red tape, and it's a molasses moving beast, right? If you want to be light and agile and nimble and have options, you need to do the opposite. Now, I don't know a lot about guerrilla warfare and stuff like that. And again, I don't think it's a likely scenario for the vast majority of us. It's not a scenario likely for me, for sure. But if I was to organize a group, it wouldn't be along military lines, because you could expect military outcomes. Like, that's just the way it's going to go. So, oh, we're getting back there. I was stingy on the hearts a few days ago. Here's one. We are D students. So I said AI is better than you. AI could be a D student and still replace you. So it says, I welcome my AI overlords, that they may be listening at the moment, and I have no motives against them. So I've seen people do that in comments where they're like, I love robots, just for future posterity, right? Where the AI can go back and read all of your comments. Oh, I found him. I'm going to end on this. I might even put this in my thumbnail. You are okay. So on my YouTube channel, the responses have been overwhelmingly positive. I'm very excited. I'm grateful and I'm excited. I've gotten 2 threats. I've gotten 2 borderline threats. I wouldn't even call them threats. So my last Hurt Feelings report, I talked about, like, who is the enemy? Minuteman, prepper guy, your tactician. Like, who's your enemy? Who are you pointing your rifle at? And I think that's a worthy conversation. This guy, he threatened me before, and I never mentioned it in the HFR because I skipped over it somehow. But in another video, I wasn't even talking. I went back and watched the video. I wasn't talking shite. I really wasn't talking trash, but he said I was, and he goes, you know, you talk a lot of trash for somebody who's putting themselves out there online, or like exposing themselves online, as if, like, he's saying, you're talking smack to me and I could find you easily. Okay, I interpret that as a threat, right? This is the same guy, Mountain Survival 1. He has a YouTube channel too. And he goes, so in the Hurt Feelings report, I asked, who is the enemy? That's a worthy conversation. He goes, you are the enemy, bro. I'm his enemy. How did that happen? First of all, it's not courageous to type things online, okay? And let's assume for 1 second that you are serious, that you have put in the effort to find out who I am and where I'm at, and I am your enemy, and you intend to do something about it. I am prepared for that, okay? I didn't start prepping when I started this channel, okay? I am prepared for you. I'm prepared for you. Every day, all day, I'm prepared for that. So, I just think it's funny. So at first I was like crafting this careful, like thought out response to, I just go, in that case, I subscribe to your channel. So I went to his channel and I subscribed to it. Because in my mind, like, I think you should, was it keep your friends close and your enemies closer? Yeah. What you think doesn't scare me. What you say puts you on my radar. What you do gets a response from me. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that. I'm at 1 hour and 13. Last week I had a 34-minute Hurt Feelings report, and everybody was like, I didn't even get to finish working. That was too short, and that was short. So now I'm at 1 hour and 13. So I hope you guys appreciate the little bit of extra commentary I put in today. But I think that's 7 days back. It looks like it is. I appreciate you guys. I'm excited about 25,000 subs, and I'm looking forward to the next milestone. When do I get a silver thing from YouTube? Is that like 100,000 subs? I think it's 100,000, but that's probably a ways off. But I appreciate you all. You guys know that I love you like, I don't know. I love you like this old heater behind me that keeps me warm, keeps my backside warm, but it's kind of one-sided. Like, it really doesn't do the job very well. I have to adjust to make, it doesn't conform to me. It just does what it wants. But it's still valuable to me. So I love you guys like that. This is Mike Tango Whiskey, and I'm all clear.